How to wind a coil climber protector co-op. Camera woman Gaia and Nadine Bowerman. Coil winder Dr. Robert Bowerman.
And this coil is for an electric car to protect the climate. Hello, this is Robert Bowerman, Dr. Robert Bowerman with Climate Protector, the co-op building a new electric car. And these are coils that live in the wheel. So they're going to be 48 coils around each wheel. So I'm going to show you how we wind these coils. So inside each coil is a magnet. It's a piece of iron that acts as a magnetic core. So it's 6 millimeters in diameter, 100 millimeters long, and that's going across really where the tire goes. So the wheel's rotating. So these are hub motors. The second thing is we're winding copper wire around the coil. So there's 3 layers in there, and that's about 108 turns, 3 layers. So this is the copper wire. It's 20 standard wire gauge. This is about 250 grams on a reel, and it's about a millimeter in diameter. So this is the wire we're winding, and we're winding around here. Now you'll notice I've done a little mark 2 millimeters in from the end, so the chuck of the drill can hold that 2 millimeter piece. And you'll notice that some of these 100 millimeter pieces have got burrs on, which we file off with a file, like this. So you don't want that to cut your finger. Now, each of these has tails on it, and the tails we need about 5-10 centimeters. So the tails are going to go in this drill. So what I've done is I've taken the copper wire, put it in through the chuck in here and coming out. So this is the tail, this is the wire I'm about to wind, this is the first layer. I slowly start the drill turning and get it really in tight. Make sure that's not poking my eye out. Nice orderly coils coming on. Once it's going nicely, you can get the speed up. And if there's any error, you have to stop immediately and back out. So this is the first layer going on.
And a few seconds later, he's got to the end and he's turned around.
And you can see a nice clean end here where layer 2 is building up, coming back. Now it's still in the same direction of like clockwise turning, and that's important for the magnetic field to be consistent. And I used a stick of wood to hold it at the end. So we'll just do a bit more winding here, coming back. Notice I'm still using the 10 millimeter chuck. This can slip through your fingers remarkably without burning your fingers. One day I'll build an automated machine to do this when we're doing cars in production, but for now we'll do it in the kitchen. Remarkably orderly and tidy.
Go.
And so now we've got 2 layers on there, and it's just a bit too big to fit inside that 10 millimeter chuck. But I have here a trusty 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter chuck with a fixture on, and lo and behold, one fits inside the other. So you wind that in nice and tight, and so that goes in there. But you don't put it in straight away because the teeth in here are a bit sharp and they could end up knocking the enamel off. So you get a piece of paper, wrap it around here so it's nice and comfortably held, and then slide in here. And that allows you to grip the coil. So here's the 10 millimeter chuck holding the 13 millimeter chuck. Now this has got 2 layers of wire on it, and that fits into the 13 millimeter. I put a piece of paper in there to stop the teeth chewing the enamel off. And you can see at the end of here, layer 1, the little 2 millimeters that were held by the last chuck, the 10 millimeter chuck with the white mark I've hidden. Now I'm wrapping the rest of layer 2 where the chuck was. And remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty, but if it's upside down, it's the other way around, lefty tighty. So what that means is I'm putting the drill in the other direction of rotation and have to get this to grip nice and tight. And if necessary, you grip with the aid of that. Get the nice last few turns on the end of layer 2, but at the same time being careful not to push layer 1 over the edge. Slightly messy winding. So that's the tail of layer 1. Get that out of the way. Get layer 2 down there. Now, layer 2 is about to become layer 3. And if I put, this is where you need 3 hands.
A few seconds later, and he's on his way back for the 3rd time on the 3rd coil, 3rd layer. And here's the coil.
The finished coil, so that's going to run at 36 volts in the Mark 1, going up to 400 volts in production. That coil will produce about 1 Tesla, very roughly, and it's going to be pushing against 2 permanent magnets. So the car, Mark 1, is going to be 32 kilowatts, so that's 8 kilowatts a wheel, or 160 watts per coil. So that's one of the beauty of having a lot of little coils, I call that a little coil, is that each one doesn't have to have too much power and it doesn't fry the transistors. So there you go.